Good morning. It's April 2nd, 2020, Wednesday. Today we will review the different parts of an essay. You already learned this before, so that's why we just need to review it because you guys still need work in writing your essay. I will explain your writing task for today after that. Okay, so let's do a quick review. Hopefully you guys still remember this. One paragraph, remember you need 5 to 7 sentences for one paragraph. So the first part of your essay is the introduction. It is the beginning of the essay. You should have a hook. Remember, hook is something that's interesting. Usually it's a fact or an interesting question so that your readers are interested in what they are about to read. And then this is where you include your position. Position is, do you agree or disagree with the topic or the essay question Next, you need the thesis statement. Remember, thesis statement would be 3 ideas that you will talk about in your essay. We will read an essay in a few minutes and I will show different parts of it. If the essay is missing any information, I will also make suggestions on what you can add to that essay. And it is only one paragraph, okay? So the body is the one that is a little bit longer. It is in the middle of the essay. You need a topic sentence and I will show examples of that later. You give 3 reasons for your topic sentence and you have to explain those reasons. You need 3 paragraphs for this. So this is why it's a little bit longer because you need 3 paragraphs. And use transition words to connect the paragraphs. We've also discussed this, but I'm going to send you guys a link so that you have a list of transition words you can use when you're comparing something or showing similarity, or if you're talking about a problem or solution, there are transition words you can use. But the most common examples when showing difference, you can say however. When you're adding extra information, you can say addition, furthermore, moreover. Those kind of words would be considered transition words, and I can give you more list regarding this one. The last thing is the conclusion, okay? It is the end of the essay. Make sure that you don't add new information. Once again, don't add any new information. If you want to add new information, everything should be in the body. That should not be in the conclusion. And what you do here is you just repeat the main ideas in your body without saying the same words, okay? So for example, in your body, you have 15 sentences. When we're talking about main idea, you have to summarize it and try to find like 3 main ideas from what you've said, okay? So that you don't say again the 15 sentences that you've said. You have to cut it short, okay? Maybe 3 sentences at most. How can you do this? You can rephrase the words, so change the order of the words, or use synonyms. So you substitute or replace some of the verbs or the adjectives by using a different word. Remember, if we are talking about synonyms, you can go to like thesaurus.com to find synonyms for common words, okay? But also make sure that you check the meaning. Another resource that you can go to is learnersdictionary.com. Make sure you check the meaning there because you don't want to use a word which you think is a synonym, but it's not really a synonym. And you need 1 paragraph for this, okay? So that's a review of the different parts of the essay. Now we will look at an actual essay, okay? So the topic for this is, according to a recent study, the more time people use the internet, the less time they spend with real human beings. Some people say that instead of seeing the internet as a way of opening up new communication possibilities worldwide, we should be concerned about the effect this is having on social interaction. How far do you agree with this opinion? So basically, it's asking you, do you agree or not? So what I do when I read a question like this, because there are so many words, I try to find important words. Okay, so more people use the internet. Okay, that's the important word. They spend less time. Okay, so less time spent with humans. Okay, so you see how I'm just highlighting the important words because not everything is important. Okay, it's saying that we should be concerned about, basically it's asking you the effect on social interaction. So when we're talking about social interaction, how do people like talk or communicate with each other in person? Okay, or even online, there's some sort of social interaction. Do you talk to people online the same way that you would do offline? How does this affect you as a person? So basically, that's what it's asking. So let's read the introduction for the essay. Okay, it is evident or clear or obvious that at present people are spending a considerable amount of time on the internet and thus less spending time with real people. Okay, so this hook is fine, but it's not that interesting for me. If I were to change it to make it interesting, so I'm giving suggestions. This would be a better hook. You can say, for example, like, do people who only communicate with others online feel lonely? Okay, so that's a more interesting hook than this, to be honest. Okay, so actually let's take that out because it's not very interesting. This would be a far better hook. Okay, so and then here the person is saying his or her position. I strongly agree that although this use of the internet has greatly increased the level of communication available, it has also had detrimental or negative effects on the amount and type of social interaction that takes place. Okay, so they have their position, which is good, but it's lacking a thesis statement. Remember, thesis statement would be your 3 ideas. So if they're saying that there are negative effects, what are those negative effects? You have to write your 3 ideas here. What are the 3 negative effects? Okay, so let's read first the whole of the essay and then we'll come back to the thesis statement later. So I'm gonna highlight that so that we know we have to come back to that. Okay, so now we are in the body. For this essay, they only have two paragraphs for the body, and that's fine. This is the second paragraph, which is the body, and this is the third paragraph, which extends or goes to the next page. This is part of the body also. So let's see what they say. Okay, and then we go back to the thesis statement. It'll just be 2 ideas because they only have 2 paragraphs in the body. The benefits of the internet in terms of increased communication are clear, with people connected across the globe. Okay, in the past, communication was only possible by phone or mail, which entailed time and expense. Let's stop here. Okay, so this is actually a little bit confusing because they're talking about negative effects, but here they're talking about the benefits of the internet. And sometimes people do that, like even though their position, let's say, would be negative effects, they also address or talk about the benefits. So they're being neutral, right? You're covering both sides. For your essay, you don't need to cover both sides. Just choose a position and talk about that position. Okay, we can talk about or you can write about both sides later on. But for this essay, make sure you just stick with your position. Okay. So I would say because of that, this part may be confusing to people, right? You're talking about negative effects, but you're talking about benefits, okay? So let's see what are the benefits, because that's what they mentioned before, okay? So they're saying that before, the communication is only through phone or mail. So that means it can be quite expensive, especially before, like calling someone long distance, you have to pay a lot of money and also time. It also usually meant just keeping in touch with those people you already know. Okay, so I guess this is the negative effects. Okay, but they're not talking about the internet yet. They're only talking about phone or mail, which is traditional way of communicating people. So now they start talking about the internet. When the internet, this has changed dramatically. Email and social networking sites such as Facebook and MSN have created online communities that are global in scale. So, this is still positive, okay? Online communities that are global in scale, it talks about like you can have friends from everywhere because that's global. It means worldwide, okay? So that's a good thing when you have friends everywhere, okay? And they have fostered communication between people and countries that we would not have thought possible in the not too distant past, okay? So let's go back over here. So I think the person here is started with the benefits, okay? So let's do different colors. They're talking about the benefits of the internet, but they're also going to talk about the negative effects, okay? So this person is actually focusing on two ideas, okay? So if we are following their ideas, they're actually doing it correctly. Because here you're talking about the positive effects and it started with the benefits over here. So let's put it in blue. Okay. Okay. And then here they are talking about so not yet. They started with the positive effects first because they said increase the level of communication available, okay? Because they're saying that you can talk to people anywhere in the world, so that's increasing the levels of communication. And then they're talking about the negative effects next, okay? The writer is saying, that said, there is no doubt in my mind that this has had negative impacts on social interaction. So this is when they start talking about the negative effects, okay? People, especially the younger generation, spend hours of their time online chatting and on forums. Although this can be beneficial, it is certainly not the same as real interaction with human beings and does not involve the same skills. It is important that children have and maintain real friendships in order to develop their own interpersonal skills. Not only this, it can also have negative effects on local communities if people are spending most of their time communicating online and not mixing with people in their neighborhoods, and possibly lead to feelings of isolation for those individuals who do not have a real person to turn to in times of need. So, if you go back here, remember they start talking about the benefits or the positive things, which is on the second paragraph, and the detrimental or negative effects is on the third paragraph. And they're saying that the negative effect is you don't mix with people in your neighborhood, and because of that you feel lonely. So feelings of isolation means you feel lonely because you are by yourself. And they say why do they feel lonely? Because you do not have a real person to turn to in times of need. So in the next video, I will talk about a better thesis statement for this one, and we will discuss the conclusion. Okay, so I will talk to you in the next video.